Did Patsy write the ransom note? Well, this video is broken into 6 parts. The first is an introduction, then how the note was found, the observation that Patsy was wearing the same clothes as the night before, the fact that the note had been removed from Patsy's notepad, the question of whether the note was written before or after the murder, and in conclusion, some sample writings from Patsy compared to the ransom note. December 25th, 10 p.m. 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey is last seen when she is put to bed, according to police reports. December 26th, 5:45 a.m., Patsy Ramsey calls 911 after reportedly discovering a ransom note on a back stairway demanding $118,000 in exchange for the safe return of JonBenet. At 5:45 is the approximate time that Patsy Ramsey found the ransom note. The 911 call was made at 5:52. December 26 at 1:05 p.m., John Ramsey and Fleet White discover the girl's body in a basement storeroom after police recommend they search the home. Police say JonBenet was not stabbed or shot, but won't disclose how she died. Colorado Bureau of Investigation handwriting expert Chet Ubowski in early 1997 determined that neither John Ramsey nor JonBenet's brother Burke wrote the note. There were indications that Patsy Ramsey was the writer, according to the affidavit, but Ubowski concluded the evidence falls short of that necessary to support a definite conclusion. Leaving a handwritten document at the scene of the crime in most cases is tantamount to leaving one's calling card. Examiners say that it's nearly impossible for a person to disguise handwriting, so an expert can't link a suspect to a document, such as the note found in the Ramsey home. The older a person is, the more automatic and difficult it becomes to conceal the clues, and the longer a document is, the harder it becomes to disguise one's writing. Let us listen to this reenactment of Patsy's testimony during her first police interview about finding the note. I screamed for John. He was in our bedroom, and he came running down. I told him that there was a note. She had been kidnapped. What should I do? He said, call the police. He ran back and checked Burke. I went downstairs. He, took the note. I remember him hunched on the floor with all 3 pages. He said, call 911 or call the police. Okay, you pick up the note and start to read it, go back upstairs to JonBenet's room. Is that correct? Well, I don't remember if I picked it up or just leaned over and read it. I can't remember. I don't think I picked it up because I remember just then bounding up the stairs towards her room. Do you remember hitting any of those papers, maybe sliding or anything as you were running back up to the room? I don't remember. I just ran as fast as I could. Do you recall, did the note go back upstairs with you when you went up to check JonBenet's room? I don't remember exactly, but I don't think so. I think I just, pounced up the stairs as fast as I could. I don't think I took it with me. Do you recall moving the note from the stairs to its eventual position where John read it on the floor? I don't recall moving it, no. Okay, Patsy, do you recall who moved the note from the bottom of the stairs down to where John could read it with the good lighting? I think he did. Okay. Don't remember exactly, but I mean I was just nuts. So Patsy said that she did not pick up the ransom note, that she ran up to JonBenet's room, called for John, and then eventually John came downstairs and he must have picked it up off the stairs and took it over and put it on the floor. Patsy Ramsey answered the door to the police wearing the same clothes she wore the night before, and her hair and makeup were done. So if she never went to bed that night, does that suggest that she might have wrote the ransom note? This is from a police report. I asked Mr. Ramsey for a sample of his and his wife's handwriting, just as standard procedure. Mr. Ramsey gave 2 notepads to Detective Patterson, who in turn gave them to me. I was advised one of the pads was for Mr. Ramsey, and the other was a sample of Mrs. Ramsey's writing. I wrote their respective names on the notebooks at the top. I responded to the police department and met with several detectives and representatives from the FBI. During this meeting, Detective Jeff Kithcart came into the room and I handed him the 2 notepads, which I was given as samples of Mr. and Mrs. Ramsey's handwriting. A few minutes later, Detective Kithcart returned to the room to show me something in the notepad which had been identified as Mrs. Ramsey's handwriting sample. There were 2 or 3 pages of writing. Then there was a page which was written in a felt marker that stated Mr. and Mrs. R, which matched the same type of writing in the ransom note. It was obvious that some pages prior to this page had been torn from the notepad. I didn't touch the page this was written on. Editor's note: this notepad was fingerprinted and 5 different fingerprints belonged to Patsy Ramsey. FBI experts, after examining the ransom note, they came to the conclusion that it's a deception, that it wasn't a ransom note. It was some kind of ploy. Lou Smith stated no way that Patsy could have written the ransom note after JonBenet had been murdered. It had to have been written prior to the murder. There's no way Patsy could have used the violent language that's in the ransom note. Well, here it is, a side-by-side look at the ransom note and Patsy's police writing sample, where she rewrote the ransom note in the presence of the police. Here's a closer look, and I'm focusing on the small a's. And in Patsy's sample writing done at the police station, she still uses that unusual small a several times. So where it says 8 to 10 a.m., that A is one of those unique looking A's. And there's several more. Here's a look at 2 small A's in the ransom note and the word arrange, and then Patsy's small a in account. Here's a comparison of the ransom note and something Patsy wrote on a photograph, or next to a photograph. and I compared the if and if the money, and I was first. The capital I and the small f in if. And if you look at the last page of the ransom note, the small f's, like in family, difficult, and somewhere else where I can't find right now, and you compare that to the small f and if on Patsy's sample, kind of at the bottom middle, they look strange, those f's, and they look similar. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and next weekend you get served to watch one of my videos on the grand jury. It was a grand amount of work, so I'll see you next weekend.